ACT.
Yeah.
I'm about to start.
Okay. About this right now.
Hey, do you? Do what you gotta do, okay? You just have to be prepared to suffer the consequences of whatever those actions are.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I was so surprised at how he was looking at me. I was talking to him. I was like, do you need to say something? Do you need help? Like, use real words. And he didn't. And then so Melanie started rubbing his head. And I was like, do you have hand sanitizer? And she was like, I don't. And I'm like, oh my God, what are we doing? And then
I think she's about to sneak me. So she calls my dad, and my dad comes in. He got his big cowboy hat on and everything. And I know he don't know how to read, so I ain't worried about him at all. So he sits next to me.
now that we know it wasn't about us.
He used the hammer if he was using his gauntlet for evil. This just doesn't make you pure and worthy enough.
That's your phone, though. I still laugh every single time. Every single time. It's the hitting your own phone. It's CT saying, and they didn't have any hand sanitizer. So it just cracks me up in the way he tells this story. What's up, everyone? What's up? What's up? So as you can see, it is just two of us here tonight because CT is taking care of business like he does. And so we just want to give him and his family a shout out. Lots and lots of love. It's not the same without him.
Yeah, nah, the chocolate drop does kind of add some flavor, a little mayhem to the show, and he will be missed tonight. But when the greater callings call, those who are great gotta answer. That's
you
right.
Gotta answer.
Yeah.
I feel like we should have had something ready to like make fun of him or just something since he isn't here.
I mean, him not being here.
Okay, that's good.
Oh God.
Cam says CT ain't got no eyebrows.
oh my gosh. So yes, well, promptly apparently we did have something to make fun of CT. Always on deck. Yeah, always. So how you doing, Johnny? You good?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. I'm looking forward to this month. We have some good conversations around or ideas around conversations on proximity. And so I'm looking forward to this conversation. What about you, brother? How you doing?
I'm good. It is March. I will go ahead and say it is my birthday month. We'll kick into that a little bit later about the plans there. But I am also excited to kick into today's conversation about the proximity gap. When we think of the proximity gap, let's really kind of break it out for everybody, kind of like give them some ideas of what the proximity gap can be. So we're thinking of the proximity gap from a perspective of like the access that people have to things and to people and to information and to systems and the effect that proximity has on them. So if I was to give an example of something, those people who live in Ohio, Columbus, may know of a certain streets that you go down and they have certain smells. Like you live in proximity of a bottling company, there may be effects and things that you have to think about. So you get used to something that other people may not get used to. That's just a side effect of proximity. The person who works at the sanitation department who is always around trash may get a little bit smell blind because of the proximity. So just giving some like real life basic examples of proximity effects. But Johnny, let's dive in, and I want to hear some about proximity effects that you are familiar with and some examples that you would like to discuss as well.
Yeah, I love how you kick that off. So we're thinking about proximity. It's the nearness in space, time, or relationship, and how that can have an effect on us.
Mhm.
And this particular conversation is more about like why, who, and what you see shapes what you believe, right? Just like the title. And initially, I thought about this is interesting. So I grew up in Mansfield. Everyone knows that smaller town. Well, smaller towns comes certain, I think, ideologies, I guess, if you
Mhm.
will, and not only a smaller town, but I grew up around my immediate family, right? We
Mhm.
talked about this before too.
Mhm.
So I was I guess sheltered is the word I would probably use without even me realizing it until I got into the outside world. I went away to college, then started working where we work, and I was just exposed to a little bit of everyone and everything, and it really opened my eyes. And I remember talking to my parents, and my dad was like, "I could see a change in you, and I think it's because of where you work." And he said it in a good way because of all the people you work around and all the different things. So it starts to change your perspective on the world, or starts to question certain beliefs that you may have because you're exposed to a little bit more. So I think proximity definitely has a huge impact on, like, it does shape what you believe, what you
Yeah.
see, what you believe in. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. And to dig into that too further, because I know, like with your example of, I wouldn't say sheltered as much. It would be like insulated. Like you had an
Yeah,
insulated
insulated.
experience because you didn't have the ability to further your access until you got to a certain age, and
Yeah.
then other experiences were allotted to you, and then now your perspective has changed, your mindset has grown. So I I would kind of look at it from the perspective of when we were in school and you went on class trips to places that you'd never been before,
Mhm.
right? Um, you go to the playground every day, right? And you play with these other kids all the time. But there's this one time a year that all of the kids would from all of the schools and maybe all of the grades would go to this one place and they would all enjoy that place together. Now you're in proximity of other kids and in the proximity of other experiences that are teaching you different things about yourself and the world around you just because of the proximity effect. And
Mhm.
it really is as simple as that, where you can watch a child's mind just expand
Mhm.
exponentially because you took them to COSI, right? You
Yeah.
took them
Yes,
to a
yes,
history museum, right?
yes.
And it's like,
It changes
I,
your whole.
it changes you, right?
Mhm.
Like I've literally watched a kid, and I had the privilege of working in education, years ago. I literally watch kids go somewhere and then come back from there on this natural rush, and they're so excited about changing what they want to do. I want this. I want to do this. I want to, and all it was a taste. It
Yeah.
was just a taste of a new environment, a new thing, and just getting close enough to see it was enough to change their lives. So I love how you kind of laid that out to say like insulated, but then exposure made a big change.
Made a big
Now,
change.
now,
Yeah.
now I would ask you about the people, right? Because like proximity is is a matter of different things. Proximity to multiple things, like proximity to information, is not the same as proximity to people, right? Can you talk about the importance of proximity to people when we use like the example of when you started working around other people? Like, what are some of the main things that you think changed in you that your father had noticed?
Yeah. I think my initial thought is like, I don't know, things that I was taught from my religion, like my religious beliefs. And it made me really realize that even though you may not agree or maybe not understand, that my job, we always talk about this on here too, like my role as a Christian is to show love. And it made me realize like what that really means. Like, oh, we don't have to agree. You don't look or act or live any way like someone that I grew up close to, but now that I'm working alongside you and we're working towards this common goal, and I've gotten to know you for the human that you are, none of that other stuff really even matters, right?
Yeah.
These are all just kind of boxes and labels that we put upon each other that may not really matter. And I think it's interesting you talk about work too, because we are in a season now that everybody is returning to work,
Yes.
returning into the office, you know, just is companies like that all around the country talking about return to office, and people are in an uproar. And one of the benefits I think is that we're now being able to see each other face to face. When we talk about proximity and how important that is, I do think it's something that's important for
Yeah.
relationships and for collaboration and for innovation. All those things that kind of sometimes can be corporate talking points.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I actually do kind of believe it. I believe that we are, as humans, we're meant to share spaces together and to be in a common space. So yeah, I just think that's interesting.
Yeah.
And too, real quick, I want to go back to what you were talking about with the kids. Terry and I had a conversation about this recently because we're taking kids on vacation in
Yeah.
the summer. He's like, man, it took me 40 years to be able to go to go to Jamaica, and these kids get to do it at a young age. I said, well, here's the thing. I get what you're saying, but one, you don't like to travel. So to you, traveling is like this privilege and this thing that you work towards and you do like one time, right? But I think it allows our kids to be exposed, just like you said, to other cultures, to the way
Mhm.
the world works. Even like when we went to Vegas, me and Jay went to Vegas, I was showing her how the airport works. Like, here's a sign you look at to make sure you know where the baggage claim is. This is how you know if your flight is on time. Those kind of
Yeah.
things. It just exposes them to the world that we live in. I have a nephew who just turned 8, and he celebrated his birthday watching the Michael Jackson Broadway experience. I'm like in New
Nice.
York and on his way to Venice.
Nice.
He'll be so cultured.
The boy's going to Venice. See, it's lost on
Yes.
him, but that's beautiful, though. That's beautiful.
Yeah, just being exposed to other cultures.
So mama said we live in proximity to Jones potato chips. Immediately got hungry, wanted some. Oh, I listen. And mama, send me some chips while we playing. Send me some chips. Yeah, barbecue. I'm just playing. So what do you think the proximity to some of the people that we've been around how has it impacted our leadership in our lives and in our professional, careers? What do you think about that? Because like I can say for myself, I've met some very interesting, wonderful people who have cultivated different things in me because they seen it and I didn't. I've had people look up to me that made me want to work harder to be somebody worthy of being looked up to. So I know that it works both ways, right? Where as much as I'm being impacted behind being around you, and I know that you're being impacted behind being around me, and then that proximity effect again is just multiplying who we're supposed to be while we're working in our purposes. Yeah. And that is something that I think is just amazing. Like across the board, it's one of the easiest things to identify when you're in the right place. And when we talk about proximity, you can be a proximity to wrong things too. Yeah. Right? And the wrong people, which will impact the way that you see the world and your potential and your growth. So I know that I've had the opportunity to have the right influences and the wrong influences. I have been around the wrong leaders that have showed me how to not be a leader in that way, or to show me how to refine some of the things that I think or thought at the time was leadership, and learning like, no, I don't want to come off like that. So tell
me this, E. I'm going to interrupt you here. What is one thing that you noticed or you observed in someone's leadership style or their behavior, whatever, that you like, absolutely not, I will never do that? And then on the other hand, something that you took away that's like, okay, That's how you show up for people. That's what you do.
Well, I've seen leaders, and I've seen leaders in the position to support people, and they kick them when they were down or question their abilities instead of inflated their confidence.
Yeah.
And in those moments, I'm like, I'd rather give you the answer than to step on you, because I'd rather help you learn how I came to that answer and give you enough to stand on your own. And therefore, if you don't stand and you fall, I know you'll know that you can come back to me, versus the fear of ever failing in front of me and ever doing anything wrong to where you feel like somebody can criticize you.
Yeah.
Like I never want to be that type of manager.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a micromanager. I'm not about to give you that much energy. I will, pour into you and all of that, but I'm not about to hover. But the good behavior that I did see was it was almost like I've had a few leaders that understood me more than I understood myself in some instances, and they laid tracks for me they gave me certain things that would heighten my skills in front of other people, and I wouldn't recognize that's what they were doing. So they were putting me on display by giving me opportunities and getting things out of my way. And that was something that I 100% wanted to adapt and do adapt, as a leader and a manager myself, to go, I'm going to build a skeleton of success for you and then work with you so that we can put the meat on the bone. And then before you know it, you'll learn how to do the same thing. Yeah. And then you'll be empowered to be in the same position and feel that you can execute on your own. Right. And I think that's the most important thing that you can do as a manager, is to empower your people and make them feel like they have a support system.
Yeah. That's cool. That's really cool. I remember, so one thing that I saw that I knew I was not going to do is that especially when I first started my career, I was taught that your employees or your team, they needed to be scared of you in order for you to be an effective leader. Yeah. And I always thought, like, something ain't right about that. Why do I want adults or anybody to be afraid of me? Like, that's not what I want. Right. And so I knew, like, nope, it has to be something bigger and better out there for me, because I will not be doing that. Yeah. And then I'm going to call out two people that may or may not hear this at some point, but you both know, Lawrence Stubbs and Steve Brooks. This just happened like a year and a half ago. I went to them separately and I asked them a question I asked them a financial question. And when I asked them, first of all, Lawrence rubbed his hands together like he was waiting for me to ask this question. He was like, this is what I'm talking about. And the conversation was so transparent with both of them. They were upfront, they gave advice. And I walked away thinking, like, if you are not doing this in a mentor relationship, then you don't even need to be a mentor. Like, if it doesn't look this way, and the thing is, I know that they show up that way for other people too. Yeah. And so maybe it doesn't come down to that exact conversation, but I know that I want to be, like, transparent and honest and somebody that people can trust. Yeah. I knew that conversation wasn't going to go anywhere. So, but I know that because from seeing them in action, and I sit back and watch. So sometimes it's not all about what people say to you, but if you sit back and watch, you'll be able to see how people show up and what they do. And how they, for sure.
Yeah, no, I think that goes back to something that I mentioned, that we are the sum of our experiences, and who we are around and what we experience in life really kind of curtails who we are. It just really helps to mold it. What did you see? And I'm really thinking of, like, the example of, like, the Jones potato chips, like the people that live next door to the Grippo factory, like, I guarantee, like, they probably don't eat Grippos because their life and the proximity to Grippos make them feel the type of way. You got some people that live all across the country who wish to God they sold Grippos in their store, but they don't. So proximity is a mug, right? Like, you get You get fresh crab and lobster in Maine, yeah, and it's cheaper. So proximity is a must, right?
It is. Yeah, you're right. You're so right. And I remember Terry was like, "Man, you ain't had a crab cake till you've been to the East Coast, till you've been to Baltimore." I'm like, "It can't be that much different, please." It's a world of difference, right? Proximity matters.
Proximity matters.
For sure, it matters. Oh my goodness. Dang, I lost my train of thought thinking about those crab cakes. I really was going to ask you something, and I thought it was going to be good too. But now
the crab cakes. Yeah, about to get
I don't
them.
know. Think of something else to talk about. Maybe I'll remember my question.
No, I was gonna. We're gonna move on to talk about the role of unconscious bias and how subconsciously, we favor what's familiar. So
yes, that's what I was going to say.
Unconscious
bias, yeah.
Because I try to keep the notes. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we be out here trying to keep it professional. CT's not here, so I got to make sure I don't ruin his month because this is the month of CT. If I mess up today, he will get me tomorrow. So no, but we want to the role of unconscious bias in the proximity effect, I think, is very pivotal because you learn an inherent sometimes unconscious bias, where it's about whose bias you take in and on because of where you are and who is exposing you to those things. Yeah. Because I don't think that kids wouldn't naturally have fear of certain things if people didn't give them these biases, and you wouldn't worry about certain ailments if people didn't talk to you about certain things. I think that biases can be inherited. I don't know if they become a natural thing that would be developed in people unless you are in the proximity of things that cultivate those type of biases in you.
Yeah.
What would you say to that?
Yeah, I love this conversation about this because I think so I was teaching a course on unconscious bias or diversity and equity and inclusion, and unconscious bias is one of the things that came up. And proximity bias is something that sounds really obvious, right? That we subconsciously favor what's familiar. And when you think about it, oh yeah, of course we do. But think about how that shows up in your day-to-day life. So if you are a leader that you were talking about, it is very familiar for you to choose someone that is right in the same office with you, right? For an opportunity. It's really easy for you to go to the person that's sitting right outside your office and ask for help and assistance or ask them a question or whatever. And so, and I think the world that we live in, we have to make it we have to be really intentional to kind of check that because it's easy to do. And now you have people that are with you. You have people all across the country. And so how do you make sure that you are closing those gaps and that you're keeping that in mind and still building relationships and being fair and equitable to people as much as you possibly can, because it is a real thing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. The closer you are, you tend to favor that person or that experience or that circumstance a little bit more simply because they're right there in front of you.
Yeah.
Right? You tend to develop a better relationship with it. So I think it sounds really obvious, but it shows up in ways that maybe you wouldn't necessarily expect.
Yeah. I mean, but it's a natural thing. I mean, it's right there. Yeah, it's right there. It's like, you remember the commercial where the dude be the boss and he'd always be like, Jenkins. Like, I can imagine that Jenkins probably sat the closest to it, right? Jenkins said within earshot.
His name being called. Okay,
yeah, that's right. Jenkins moved to another floor at some point, but because he sat so close, the boss would always be like Jenkins because he sat outside his door. So proximity will impact that as well.
Yeah, I had a bad habit of that when I was a manager. First of all, I was a manager for like 2 years and I was terrible at it and I hated it. But I did that all the time. I had favorites and I would choose my favorites all the time because I'm like, well, look, this person I know their work. They're easy to work with. They're going to do what I ask them. And if they question it or challenge it or whatever, it's going to be meaningful. They're not just going to do it just for the hell of it. And
Right.
so I did that a lot. Maybe it's why I'm not a manager anymore.
Maybe.
Perhaps.
Yeah, perhaps. Yes,
I don't know.
Yeah. No, I don't think when I managed the cleaning companies and all this stuff, and I had a bunch of people report to me, I don't think I ever had favorites. I had people who sought favor, and they would work really hard to try to curry it from me, and I just be like watching the people like hustle and all that to try to do it, and I just be like, I'm good. Like, he don't like me. Like, no, it's not that. I'm not about to sit here and accept that you're bringing me lunch in front of all the rest of the employees, and that's going to be a good thing. That's favor. I know that may get me in trouble at some point.
Maybe.
Yeah, like that may get me in trouble. So no, like I'm not gonna let you create that problem for me. Now, Yeah, now here's the crazy thing about the proximity effect. Now, if nobody was around and you brought me that food, like, and you just left that food on the table, this for me? Okay, all right. I'm like, and I'm gonna go ahead and make a joke out of this. You ever notice that when people in the proximity of a good lunch at an office or whatever, they try to eat somebody else's lunch? Like, that's another proximity effect. People eating your lunch.
I can't wrap my mind around that, E.
It's not a good thing.
I know you're making a joke about it, but I can't wrap my mind around eating other people's lunch. You don't know what their kitchen is like. You don't know. And why do you do that? Why do people do that? How do
because somebody else's food is in the proximity.
That's trifling. I don't like it. I don't like that you brought this up. I don't even like talking about it.
You're triggered.
Because we're headed back into this office. And nobody better take my lunch.
She's so triggered. So I got an ice pack. So I got an ice pack in mine, and I leave mine at my desk with me. Like, it'll cool off through it. Warm up throughout the day, be perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't worried about it. Yeah. No.
I don't know. I think when you think about proximity, though, we have a lot of different ways that we can explore this conversation.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be really interesting when CT comes back, just especially the way his mind works and how he's thinking about this idea of proximity. It's going to be a good month.
Yeah, I love it. And we do look forward to CT coming back and adding to this conversation. I know he wants to delve more into it. So thank you, Johnny, for helping us kind of stage that and load that up. I think we've had some proximity effect conversation now that I've triggered you because you were in proximity of me, so I triggered you by thinking that your lunch is gonna get stolen.
I'm gonna be looking at everybody tomorrow like that's
you gotta put the best looking lunches in the worst looking lunch boxes. That's what you do. That's the trick. Get you a ratty looking lunch box or whatever, because they even sell them like that too. Like, get you you can buy damaged, pre-damaged looking lunch box or whatever, and get you a little pail, put in there, like, why it look all rusted and all that? Yeah, don't touch my stuff. Yeah, ain't nobody gonna touch that. Ain't nobody gonna touch that funny looking thing up there. Yeah, I mean, that's, I'm all about the camouflage. The good food in the bad looking bag. It's always the thing to catch on. You ever notice that people come out of a restaurant and you can't see the food, but the bag is all the package is horrible and greasy looking. You're like, nah, that's probably the best food in that bad bag.
Yes. That's gonna be the best food. So my mom had a couple of comments that I thought was really good.
Yeah, let's go back to them.
Can you throw those up there really quickly? I never wanted to discourage someone's dream because I wasn't in their dream. Right. That's a good one. I mean, that's nothing I can say, but you're absolutely right. But everybody don't see it like that.
Yeah. If a generation steps out the box from traditional familiar ways, other ones will pass their fears to them and stunt their growth. That is true. A lot of people don't want you to have experiences that could damage you. In a sense, I understand protection.
Yep.
Right? I understand trying to protect people, but unfortunately, I think enough children don't eat enough dirt. That's the reason why we're weaker than we have been our whole life. Listen, hey, the crazy thing is, like, I think about how we used to be. I think we said this on the podcast before. The old school muskets and all of that stuff. Like, people used to get hit with these little nickel plates, and then they would flatten. They get like this big, and they would survive that sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they had no good medicine. They had no real. Like, they survived that. We survived tough. We was tough. We didn't have shoes. Never had shoes, right? Like, our feet and the calluses and stuff that we developed to walk around out here, like, and survive. Like, these Tempur-Pedic beds and stuff. Like, we used to sleep on dirt. Like,
this is such a whole conversation. Oh my gosh. Now you didn't trigger me again, but I will say just to that point. And it's really hard when you value and respect the opinion and the values of your elders too. So as you're learning and growing, you want to, like, that's your foundation. I'm just thinking about my parents. If I have a completely different outlook or opinion about something, it's a little bit difficult for me to stray away from that, because in my eyes, they are my foundation, and I still love and respect them and believe in what they have to say. And so that can be really hard. And not putting my stuff onto my kids. Oh, this is a whole nother conversation.
So what about the stained Tupperware bowls? Are we gonna leave? We're gonna leave that alone until that's
so mad if my mom has stained Tupperware bowls. She'll just throw them away. She'll just come in her house and throw them away. Like, you can't throw. That might be her favorite bowl that she's holding on to.
It's stained. It's done.
At least it is done. It's in the trash.
Well, we've triggered a few people today. This is wonderful. All right, so let's jump into our pretty truths and our pretty lies and ugly truths.
Now you are.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pretty Lies and Ugly Truths. Today's conversation is about luck, because we want to know, do you feel lucky? Is luck a real thing? Now, I think some people may assume that they're lucky when things have just happened because of happenstance. Maybe they were meant to happen and everything around them pointed to it, and they were just oblivious to the fact that it was going on around them. They literally, there's been stories about the people who have picked up the $20, but if you watch the $20 story, it was going to end up there anyway. Mm-hmm. So were you the lucky person, or was that $20 just supposed to be there anyway? I don't know. So Johnny, I'm going to ask you first before we move on. Like, do you believe in luck?
Sometimes. Some days. Ask me on a lucky day. Me on a day where we've won the lottery, where we've hit the pick 3, then maybe I feel a little lucky. But I don't know, E. This is another thing that we were talking about, like older generations. I was taught, I grew up in the Church of God in Christ. I was taught there is no such thing as luck. It's only by the grace of God, right? It's only God's blessings. And I'm like, even as a kid, I thought, like, really? Like, really? I don't know. But when the first thing I thought about is, like, people who win the lottery, boom, they win millions of dollars. How lucky are they? And then you watch those documentaries and they are dead broke and they have absolutely nothing. So I guess, like, you can be lucky, but then you still have to, like, they still were supposed to manage their money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now they've gotten themselves in a pickle. So do I believe in luck? Yeah, I'm going to stick with my answer as if this is a game show. My final answer is sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It depends on the day. What about you? Do you believe in luck, or is it all just hard work and you, like, what do you believe in?
So yes, I do believe in luck. I believe luck is an attribute that is given to people who fall into specific places at the right time. And that's how luck seems to work. So for instance, those people who are lucky typically are in an advantageous situation in a moment when something happens to their benefit. And the people who are unlucky are typically in a situation where something happens to their detriment. And that is where we start describing luck. Because I'll use the example of the lottery, like you just said. I can go in and play the same number you played, but I played it in a different order.
Yep.
I hit, but you hit higher.
Yeah.
Are we both lucky? Or are you luckier?
Oh.
See, so then that becomes the thing.
Harder.
See,
okay.
but that the other thing is, and that I'm pointing out is why I do believe in it, is because luck is subjective too.
Yeah.
Because to the point where something that happens for me could have been attributed to me being a hardworking person, and luck came my way because I'm hardworking, or I could have gotten lucky because of the hard work that I did. Right.
Yeah.
So like, there's so many ways that luck plays in our lives that I know that it has to exist, because I've seen what unlucky looks like. Cam, I wanna come to that video. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go to it's like an SNL skit. I just want to show you the difference of what unlucky looks like. Just unlucky. So let's kick over to that. Like, wow. How do you time that? Okay.
I'm like, no.
Yeah, no.
I don't like this.
Yeah, right. First he kills the bird. Now the bird is mad now, as rightfully so. Okay. Now we're littering. Oh, he heard a turtle.
Happy Gilmore. Like, this is so dumb.
And when he finally got no, that was terrible. Okay. All right. So as we can clearly see here, like, that guy was just minding his business. He was not thinking that any of those things was going to happen to him at all. He was out doing his best. He's competing. And while he's competing, unluck struck.
For those animals.
No, I mean, he probably lost that tournament. Okay? Yes. If you was out playing basketball and like, let's just say LeBron James is out playing basketball and in the middle of about to shoot the game-winning three-pointer, a bird flies right into the way of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Is that luck for the bird or unlucky for LeBron? Like, the chances of some of the things that happen to people are so infinitesimal, and yet they still happen.
Yeah.
Do we consider that unlucky, or do we just consider it one of the things that had the probability and possibility of happening in the universe, since anything can happen?
No, but isn't that what luck is?
But is it?
I know. And I'm just sitting here thinking about different circumstances. I can't think of anything in particular, but just like over life, like, oh, this person has to be the unluckiest person I've ever been. It's just like stuff just, I don't know. Then I know people, it seems like things just fall into their lap. Riches fall into their lap. Like, oh my God, you have to be the luckiest person on the face of the earth. Yeah, I don't know. And you mentioned before, but even before, you mentioned like we're headed into March Madness. Right. Like if both teams are playing their best and playing a good game and someone just makes the game-winning shot, like, yeah, of course, with basketball, athletics is a skill, but both teams have skill. So now what?
Right. Like, you get a lucky call. The ball bounces a little higher than you anticipated, or the ground is slick, or some other. There's all of these little things that add up to luck.
I'm gonna claim luck this week. That this is gonna be a lucky week for us.
I'm with that. Because because March has a tendency of coming in what they call a lion or a lamb, which, in my opinion, is just another look at luck, right? Because you're like, if we're lucky, March will come in like a lion, meaning, we may have some little inclement weather, and then it goes out like a lamb. Like that's we're hoping. We instantly start looking towards luck in March, where we're like, oh my gosh, like if like Punxsutawney Phil, whatever you came up with, man, like we look, the luck of the Irish. And again, now we're in March. Why is the luck of the Irish? Like we keep going back to this luck theme because we just hoping that we get to spring. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what we're doing right now.
We just hoping we get to spring.
Please God, please.
Please God. I'll be lucky if I make it to spring.
If I make it to spring, I'm with you, brother. I'm like, come on. I'm born and raised in Ohio, and I'm like, okay, enough is enough already. Okay,
look,
I'm fed up.
Did you see the other day? It snowed. It was whiteout snow. It was sunny.
Yep.
And then it was windy. And then it rained.
Yep.
And then it was sunny again. And then we had nighttime. That's 5 weather changes in one day.
I'm just like, you know what? Just close the blinds. This is over. I'm going to watch TV.
Yeah. Everybody who did not go outside that day was lucky.
Everybody was lucky.
I was not.
Oh gosh, what is luck?
I was not.
Well, speaking of lucky, I don't want to change the subject if you had another point. But someone's birthday is coming up. Are you going to be lucky on your birthday?
That's a loaded question. That's a loaded question. If CT was here, he probably would have caught that.
Words and awry.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and use the PG version. No, I'm going to use the PG version of what you just said. Thank you for the alley-oop. I hope so. Thank you for the alley-oop, Johnny Miley.
Parents are listening. I'm so embarrassed.
That's right. You asked me if I'm on my birthday. I hope so. I do.
Words, guys. I didn't mean it.
Yes, my birthday will be this Thursday. It's always a fun time.
Can you share your age?
Yeah, I mean, look, I ain't got no problem with it. People see me on here. I'm 44. I'll be the double fours. I think it's always a blessing to make it to a double stamped year, right? Like 33 was the year of our Lord. Then you make it to 44, you're like, oh my God, I'm doing it. Then you make it to double nickel. Once you make it to the double nickel, man, when you're 55, people respect 55 for some reason. Like soon as you you can be 50 and people still like you young. But you're 55, they're like, oh yeah, you a 55er? Yeah, we ain't playing with you because you up there. You up there. You only 5 away from the 6-0. Like, so yeah, that's it. But yeah, I'll be 44. Very excited to celebrate. It'll be very low key this year. I'm doing this rebuild of a vehicle right now. So brother's pockets is going towards all of his rockets. If you see me fly by this summer, you know that this is where my investment. They're gonna eat right there. I ain't stop. Look, I'm on everything. My whole goal is to get my car together so that I can put it in the garage and spend my time flying somewhere. And then when I come back, I'm flying in my car, and then I'm flying out. That's it. I just want to be flying everywhere I'm going, flying. Like,
I wish people knew the proximity in which you live from your job to your home. You are literally going to be flying. That's it. That's it. I'm really when you're there.
And then I'm looking at I've been looking at like a Vespa or something, like a little scooter, so I can be out here in my little like that'd be so. I'm gonna be weird. I'm gonna be out there riding my little Vespa, honking at people like, get out of the way. Like,
would love
talking like I'm Mario and Luigi for no reason at all. I'm just goofy, just having the best. But yeah, I'm really excited. Now I don't want to skip past the fact that I'm lucky enough to be able to share a proximity. The proximity effect happens to me as well for my birthday. So my birthday is not even a full week away from my mother's birthday. So shout out to the Queen of Chaos who just celebrated her birthday last Friday on the 28th. Yeah, so we had a wonderful time. We got to spend time with her.
Awesome.
We hooked her up with some popcorn and all type of fun stuff. Now the thing that I got to do that I thought was real fun. I don't like Crocs. Okay, now it's not me. Like, I got big feet, so Crocs may not rock for me. And I'm trying to work my way up to get some Crocs because, I'm just not that guy. Yeah. I told my mom, I asked her, I was like, Mom, you got some Crocs? She was like, yeah, I had some, but I guess they was too small. And then she been wearing my stepfather's Crocs. So I was like, nah, Mom, we got to get got to get Mom some Crocs. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to tell you the story of E going into the Crocs store now.
Lord.
What? Now, be prepared. I've never been in there before, and I've never really understood Crocs as a shoe or anything. So, all right. So I go into the mall, walk into the Crocs store, and I'm overwhelmed instantly behind the number of Crocs that are there, right? Because they're everywhere, and they're all different types of Crocs. They got these Crocs, those Crocs, and and then I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm like, Mom, what size shoe you wear? I was like, in Crocs. She was like, medium. I was like, okay, medium. Now, that's the wrong size. I didn't know that at the time. So I'm in there and I'm like, excuse me, can you please show me to the Lady Crocs? She was like, Lady Crocs. I was like,
they said, you've never been in here before.
I was like, so I guess I found out that Crocs are unisex. I didn't know, what I'm saying? I'm like, I thought there was because in normal shoe stores, there's a men's section. And it was like, so, okay. Failure number one. Number two was, okay, so she said mediums. It was like, mediums? I was like, yeah, that's what she said, medium. It was like, is there a shoe size? I was like, this is a real shoe store. I can't just come here and be like, yeah, give me some medium Crocs and I'm out of here. Like in my mind, I'm thinking they like you go to the dollar store and they be like the flip flops on the hanging thing. Yeah, in my mind, I'm like,
and it kind of looks like that in there.
Yeah. I'm literally looking at these things like, this is just the corner store flip flops, just jazzed up, right? That's what give me the mediums because whatever it is, their feet will slide into them anyway. That's what you're thinking, but no. I need an actual shoe size. So I was a little thrown off, but I did know my mom's shoe size. So I threw that out there. Yeah, I got that. And then she proceeded to tell me I could pick giblets. And then I was like, giblets? What is giblets? What is giblets, Precious? And then she started to tell me about the little things that you can get put onto the Crocs too. The little giblets. That's what they are because I had to design a shoe for my mom. So ladies and gentlemen, I worked really hard at putting together a pair of Crocs for my mom. It was a Croc of my time that I did donate to my mom's Crocs, and I did put together 13 giblets on her on her Crocs. My mom's Crocs are fire. I'm not sharing them with it. I'll share a picture with y'all, but I'm gonna let her because she started crying when she saw her Crocs. My Crocs made her cry because they off the chain. So I may share it on our page to say my mama's Crocs. Yeah. But yeah, that was a whole experience. I thought about it. With any? No, I walked out with hers. They don't have Crocs in my size in the store. They just don't. Yeah, that's a real thing. That's a Croc. I'm gonna just keep on moving because I can't get
like that.
Yeah. The whole the whole time in my mind, I'm like, I get to say the word Croc a lot. So.
It is actually an experience in the Croc store. It is.
Man. I walked out of there. The lady was like, "You can get 13 for this." I was like, 13 giblets for this. In my mind, I'm thinking is this like chicken wings or something? Like, why giblets? Right?
I don't get that. The thing is, though, they're so comfortable. That's how they get you. That's how they get you. I initially didn't like those things, and I tried on a pair of my daughters, and I was like, oh, this is what it is. This is what the hype is all about.
All right.
I don't know.
You know what? I may order me some for my birthday. How about that? I'm gonna order me some Crocs for my birthday. The Batman ones was looking pretty cool. The banana ones look pretty cool. They had some Dragon Ball Z ones too. Like, so I don't know. I may fox with some Crocs.
Oh God, here we go. Here we go. Well, I can't.
All right, I'm done.
My stomach. Okay, so
yeah, no, I'm done.
I really just want to be quiet. I wish CC was here so I could just slide into the background.
Nope. Yeah. No. You did good. That was wonderful. Thank you, Mama. I truly appreciate that. Thank you for the happy birthday. And a special shout out to all of those people who's celebrating those birthdays.
That's right.
Coming up here. So it's Pisces season. It's the end of the zodiac. You know, don't worry. Everybody get their time again. It rolls around every single calendar. So, Johnny, you got any final thoughts? I think we're going to wrap up a little early today. We got so guys, we do got to go check on CT. The chocolate drop might be melting right now. We don't know. We got to check on him. He's a busy man.
Yeah, busy man for sure. Look, I'm looking forward to this conversation about proximity. I think we got it started good, and just thinking about again the nearness in space, time, or relationship, and how it affects our views and our perspectives. And I think if we open up our minds a little bit, we'll be ready for this month to have these conversations on how proximity really matters. It doesn't always mean in the same exact space, but just, in relationship to people and life. So I'm looking forward to this conversation, like I keep saying. And happy early birthday to you, E.
Thank you, Johnny, my liege. And my final thoughts is thank you for being in proximity of our influential sphere. Because every time you tune in here, we get to have a great conversation. We want to be here to motivate you through these conversations, these topics, and get your perspective. So if you are listening, please continue to like, share, comment, and interact with us. We are here, the EMM Crew Season 4, Episode 65. We are flying.
Wow.
We are truly still flying. Season 4 has been a very fun transition. And I'm loving how we're going and the fact that we keep almost rule breaking. Johnny, I'm very proud of you today. You almost brought out the other Johnny that nobody knows the name of.
Nope.
Angel. So with that, we're going to go ahead and sign off and tell you guys thank you so much for tuning in again. We'll be this is the Easy Monday Motivation Crew, and you can just chill until the next episode. Peace. Have a good one, guys.
Peace, y'all.
Peace. Johnny, I'm